The DCAA ICE model is changing. If you're putting together this year's submission, you need to watch this video and check out how Power Query can help optimize your submission process. My name is Jake Griffin, and I'm a government contracting consultant. I want to take some time here to walk you through the demo of the new Power Query enabled ICE model from DCAA. All right, let's jump right in. As you can see, you go to the DCAA.mil site, checklist and tools, and the ICE model here, and you'll see download the ICE Power Query package. When you open this, you're going to find their DCAA electronically submission developer manual, okay? This is a very, very comprehensive manual teaching you how to use the new Power Query model, and also some tips and tricks in here how to actually build each of the ICE data sheets and those back schedules, populating those and making sure that they all are functioning correctly. With that said, I want to touch base really quickly on this really critical point right here. I do strongly suggest you go through and read this entire thing before trying to do this. There are some quirks in here, obviously, using Power Query, but this is a very critical point, and they make a very good note of this. So the DCAA ICE submission developer Excel file makes extensive use of Power Query to read the ICE data sheets. This is where you're actually going to populate all of your data from your system to build the corresponding incurred cost schedules. These individual queries should not be changed in any way. So no adding columns, no adding additional data, no changing the headers, and I'll show you why. This is very, very important. Do not change the model. I can't say that enough. This is very critical. So with that said, go through this entire package, look at it, make sure you go through the manual, make sure you're understanding how to build each of these schedules. And then, as you'll see here, this is their submission developer version 1.1. This is the blank Excel file that you'll get out of the package. And it has some good instructions here. But then it also has an error checking tab. We'll get into that in just a second when we go through this demo. You want to enter your company information, answer a few general questions about your company, answer these general accounting questions, such as whether you're on TCI or value added base, things like that. And then as you get to these expense tabs, these are all the summary tabs down here, these yellow tabs. So when you get to the expenses, you want to make sure to look at these little comment boxes that are built in. It tells you what to do and how to format your data here. So you need to be able to identify by cost type, fringe, overhead, material, and spell it like that, because Power Query builds relationships in the back end, and it will need to be built so that this will map out to pull into the appropriate schedules on the back side of this model. So as you can see, they leave these little tips and tricks in here throughout the entire model, depending on which one you're on. And you just want to make sure that you're formatting that correctly. So when you pull your data from your actual system, you're going to pull that into a CSV file or an Excel file from your system, whether that be SAP, Uninet, Deltek, even QuickBooks. You're going to get that into Excel. You're going to be able to use Power Query in Excel automatically. You can go to either the Power Pivot and load it into the model itself, like into the back end, and manage the model, or you can, load it in from Get Data from right here from the Data tab, Get File, go to Excel. Once you get it into Power Query, you'll be able to append, merge, maybe get rid of some columns, that sort of stuff to get it into this format. And then basically you just want to copy and paste that data directly in here starting on row 2. You do not want to paste over the column names. These column names are linked. These are relational in the back end of Power Query here within this model. So you just want to paste your actual data directly into row 2 and down. That way it'll continue to build. Now with that said, let's go over and look at the demo really quickly. I want to show you some real data here. So as you can see, instructions are all the same. Here's some blank company information. General questions have been answered. The accounting questions have been answered. Obviously, they're on a TCI base, so that makes a difference in how that schedule is populated in the back. And when you go look at the actual expenses here, they've identified their G&A cost type, their G&A pool name, and then they've copy and pasted their account numbers, account name, what department it may be. If you don't have a department in your GL details or in your trial balance details, that's okay. Don't populate it. And then your GL balance. Now, they made some adjustments here. So as you can see, they backed out some dollars for unallowables, and they've documented that here under the FAR DFAR clause. You can manually type this in on any of these summary ICE schedules, these yellow tabs, and then you can add a comment like unallowable costs. That way, the auditor, whoever's looking at your DCAA submission, will know that this is, unallowable based on this FAR clause, and it's this much. Once you've built all of these data tabs, all of the different data tabs to make up all of these costs that you need to push to the backside of this model to build out all of your normal schedules, A through O, you can go up here to the data, hit refresh all. Once you hit that, it's going to drag all of the data that you inputted into all of these different summary tabs back here into the actual schedule A. So this is how that's going to look. Looks a little different than what we're used to, but that's okay. This is going to work a whole lot better than the VBA macro-enabled workbook that we're used to in the end. With that said, Schedule B is going to build itself. You don't have to do anything on these. No manual intervention here. All of this is based on these summary schedules at the front, so all the yellow tabs. And as we move forward, you're going to see that there's C's, there's D's. With that said, when you go over to Schedule H, it does look a lot different than what we're used to. But it's really cool because as you move across, obviously it's got all this information that you input into these summary schedules in the front, but then it also drags those over, puts in all of your direct costs, what's been claimed, and then all of your indirect costs, and then it grand totals it out here to the side. Automatically, you don't have to do any of this, and it should match entirely as long as you input the data correctly on the data ICE tabs. Schedule I works the same way. As long as you put everything in the data ICE tabs at the front, it's going to drag all of that right in here. It's going to drag in what has a penalty clause because you've identified that on the summary tab. And then it's going to also identify any ready to close. It's going to identify what's been billed and billed through, and then show you your over and under billings right there. So as you move through Schedule J as well, all of your subcontract information that you put into the summary tab is going to drag in here, including the POC information. And it's going to tell you exactly all of the information about these subcontracts. Schedule K looks a little different, obviously, again, but it has all of your program, your labor categories, right here with your labor rates, your labor hours. And then if you have any other categories such as material and travel, I know we're used to those being kind of below it. They're just going to be out here to the side in this other category, and their costs are going to go in this non-labor cost category, and then it's going to total everything out here to the side and roll it all up at the bottom based on the task. Schedule L is going to look a little bit different as well. You're going to have your direct labor at the top. You're going to have your salaries, all of your fringe type benefits, and then you're going to have your total labor distribution here. It's going to have your quarterlies and any adjustments, and these two should, in theory, tie out. Schedule L is always the fun schedule. So with that said, if you added any comments that you changed, maybe accounting practice changes or system changes, whatever the case may be, you'll have those notated in that summary tab, and they will pull straight into here, into Schedule M. Schedule N looks very much the same. You can fill this out in here and print it to PDF or however you want to do that to sign it. And then also in Schedule O, any of those ready to close contracts that you identified in those summary tabs as ready to close are going to automatically pull in here so that you don't have to do as much work, and you may have a comment out here to the side. It'll pull in all of your LOE information as well because you've inputted that on the summary tabs out here. So that's a really quick demo. I really hope that this has helped. I hope that you can see the power that Power Query is going to make a huge difference in a lot of the contractors, especially the smaller ones for now, as we kind of adapt to this new model. It'll be interesting to see how the larger contractors adapt as well, but I think that this is the way of the future for DCAA for their ICE submissions. And if you need any help or in general need help with Power Query or just understanding how this is going to make a really big impact on your company and the way that you do your ICE submissions, please reach out. I'd love to help. And any comments that you have or anything else, please drop those in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer those directly. Thanks.